Hey, what's up guys, the Bubblegum Daddy here, bringing you guys another bombastic video. And almost daily, a silver comes to me and asks, can you give me some tips? Can you help me get out of silver hell? So I decided to make a video on this, so whenever someone asks me for tips, how to get out of silver, so I could just show them this video and give them an idea on how to get out of silver. So this is 10 things that will most likely get you out of the silver. And I want to start by talking about gaming peripherals a little bit, and it's definitely not the most important thing, but it does matter. So basically, if you are a silver player and you're watching this video, you probably take the game seriously and you are dedicated. So that means you have probably looked into gaming peripherals. And so what do you think about when you think of gaming headsets? A lot of people consider it the most important peripheral, but while it is important, I don't think it's the most important, okay? Good headphones are probably going to benefit you, but you definitely don't need a super ass $200 gaming headset, because most gaming headsets don't even sound good. Razer TM at 7.1 doesn't sound good at all, and if you want to sacrifice a lot of sound quality for a very small surround sound effect, of course you can do it, but it's going to cost you a lot of money. In my honest opinion, I would choose better sound quality stereo headphones over some gaming headphones which promise incredible surround sound. I mean, let's just be honest right here. Surround sound technology doesn't work the best in most gaming headsets. Keyboard isn't all that important as long as you're comfortable with it and as long as it's accurate and as long as it doesn't have sticky keys or whatnot. But the mouse, on the other hand, is very important, and when you're going to be shopping for a gaming mouse, you definitely want to pay attention to this sensor, because you want precise movements out of your mouse. And some good mice with a good sensor are Razer Deathadder, or what I personally use, Steelseries Rival. There are a ton of good gaming mice available on the market, but these were just 2 examples. And also remember to get a mousepad, because most optical mice don't track too well on different surfaces. Now let's talk a little bit about the sensitivity. And when I started playing Counter-Strike Global Offensive, I used to play with 1600 DPI and a 7 sensitivity in game. And over time I lowered it down to 1200 DPI 3.5 in game, which is still a very high sensitivity. And I wasn't even using a mousepad. Basically there was very little space on my desk and there wasn't enough space for a mousepad, so I was basically moving my mouse exclusively with my wrist, and it wasn't very comfortable, but I guess I was fine with that. But later on I actually changed the construction of the table, and now there is a lot of space on my table for the mouse and for the mousepad. So I actually got a new mousepad. I lowered my sensitivity to 400 DPI and 3.6 sensitivity in-game. This is a sensitivity that Forest uses. And why does your mouse sensitivity even matter? Because a lot of people are actually saying that you should use whatever you're comfortable with. And I guess it's not wrong. If you're comfortable with something, it's alright to use. But a lot of professional players in Counter-Strike play with lower sensitivities, and there are 2 types of CSGO gamers: wrist gamers and arm gamers. Wrist gamers are gamers who mainly use their wrist for mouse movements, and arm gamers, self-explanatory, they use arm for their mouse movements. There aren't a lot of pros who are wrist players, but I guess a good example is Hiko. He uses a 3.7 sensitivity in game on 400 DPI, but you will rarely see professional players go above that. And if you play with a lower sensitivity, you're going to have better precision. Your movements will be more precise, and that's what you want in Counter-Strike. Precision is the key. But moving on, I actually want to talk a little bit about the communication. And that's something I see a lot of silvers struggle with. And let me give you guys a little bit of a background story right here. In the end of 2014, I bought one more copy of CSGO. and it was originally meant to be like a game, CSGO version for my brother, because he was just playing on my account all the time. He was playing casual and deathmatch. He wasn't playing competitive though, so I wanted him to play competitive, and he played a few matches of competitive, and he kinda stopped playing it. And so I got the exclusive chance to play with silvers. And I know I'm an ass because I smurfed, but I didn't really want the account, the CSGO copy, to go to waste. And after all, the account still doesn't have a rank, so maybe it will be ranked in Master Guardian level, so whatever. Communication in silver ranks is absolutely terrible. I'll just say this right here: if you want to succeed in Counter-Strike, if you want to get better, you absolutely need a microphone. It's 2015, and microphone is a must-have if you want to play CSGO on an above silver level. And I'll give you guys a few examples on how to communicate in game. Of course, you can cheer up your team while in the warm-up or something, while the round hasn't started yet, but you generally don't want to talk too much. You just want to make simple calls. For example, I'll give you guys a situation. There's a guy at B. Imagine Dust2 B side right here. You're playing CT, you're at B site, you're just defending, and the enemy kills you. You get insta-headshotted, and what do you say? A lot of silvers just say, holy fuck, he fucking killed me. Go B, guys, they're taking B side. But what you should be saying is, one pushing B or one B backing off. You don't want to be talking too much. You just want to make simple calls. You want to give information to your team and let them do whatever they want with it. Of course, if you absolutely know they're going to take the B side, then you can say they're taking B. But generally, you just want to give information that you are sure of, that you know it is true. And I also see a lot of silver players, and not only silvers, a lot of Master Guardians, a lot of DMGs, MGEs are actually doing this. And whenever a player is trying to clutch around, a lot of people are just talking and trying to give him tips. And when a player is actually clutching, he must have a very high concentration. So if there are footsteps behind him, he probably heard them. And now let's move on to one of the most important things that you need to do if you want to rank up. And that is get some friends. If you get some friends, it will definitely be a lot easier for you to win games, just because you won't be matched up with annoying people. You won't be matched up with crazy ragers or people who don't have mics. And with friends you can actually execute strategies, and just because your enemies are silvers too, it will be very tough for them to do something against pretty basic strats. And moving on to number 5, learn to play default. And while sometimes it makes sense to stack a particular bomb site or play 4 players at A or 4 players at B, generally you don't want to be doing it. And let's take Dust2 CD side for example. Teams will usually be playing 2 long, 1 short, 1 B, 1 middle. Sometimes you will see people playing 2B, 3A, or 2B, 1 mid, 2A, but don't generally play 4A, 1B, or 4B, 1A. I have actually seen a lot of silver teams just play some crazy setups on the CD side, and yeah, that's just don't do it. And one more tip, it does make sense to push sometimes as CDs, but usually you just want to be holding angles while playing on the CD side. And I see a lot of silvers just rushing. And it's not like they're rushing strategically, but for example, the whole team will go and rush B tunnels and later on camp in B tunnels, while the T's take control of the A bomb site and plant the bomb. And that's just something you don't want to do. Just don't do it. And now let's actually talk about the crosshair placement. And honestly, I facepalm every time I see someone looking at the ground with the crosshair. You shouldn't be doing that. You should try to keep your crosshair at the head or at the chest level, so you wouldn't have to adjust your crosshair when you see an enemy. And that's just something you have to learn. You won't get to higher ranks if you keep your crosshair at the ground or at your feet. And now let's talk about the actual crosshair. And there's nothing wrong with using a dynamic crosshair, and there's also nothing wrong with using a static crosshair. But there is something wrong with using the default crosshair, just because it has been proven that it is a little bit inaccurate. So if you're using a default crosshair right now, try to use a static crosshair or try to use a dynamic crosshair if you want that feedback. But default is just not the most precise crosshair out there. And now let's move on to number 8, which is aim. And a lot of silvers struggle with aiming, especially if they've never played an FPS game before. And aiming in Counter-Strike is a lot different from aiming in Call of Duty or Battlefield or whatever. And there are 3 different shooting techniques in Counter-Strike: tapping, bursting, and spraying. And tapping is basically when you fire single bullets and try to hit your enemy's head. Bursting technique is similar to tapping, but instead of firing single shots, you actually fire multiple shots, like 3 or 4, and try to hit the enemy's head and try to control the recoil along the way. And spraying, well, spraying is basically spraying. You fire a lot of bullets trying to control the recoil. But how do you actually control the recoil? And I'm not a professional player, and I'm not the best at explaining how to control your recoil. There are a lot of videos on YouTube with pros explaining how to do it. If you want to get a better example on how to control the recoil, look up some professional players' videos. So basically, here's AK-47's recoil pattern. As you can see, it moves up and then cycles left and right all the time. And to control it, you actually have to move your crosshair in the opposite direction. And you have to learn how to do it if you want to succeed at Counter-Strike. So if the recoil pattern goes up, you basically pull your crosshair down. And for the first 10 bullets of the AK-47, it's almost a straight line up. So you just want to be pulling your crosshair down for the first 10 or so bullets. And it's not even that hard if you think about it. Go into an empty server and try to practice this a little bit. If you learn the spray control, your aim is going to get a lot better. And spraying is actually the technique I use the most when I'm shooting the enemies. But for the most part, depending on your situation, you have to choose which shooting technique you want to use. As I said, I use spraying the most, but if it's a very long range gunfight, I will use tapping. I rarely use burst fire. And moving on to number 9, which is pretty important as well, and it is training. And what I say to most silver players, and what a lot of legendary eagles have told me, is to develop a training routine. And a good way to do it is basically by playing deathmatch and aim maps. And deathmatch is probably better in my opinion, but aim maps can teach you some new skills. For example, following your enemy as he moves. That's something I usually struggle with, and that's one of the reasons why I play aim maps. I basically want to learn that aspect of the game better. But speaking about deathmatch, there are many different types of deathmatch. The best one in my opinion is free-for-all, just because you experience action all the time. You don't just respawn and search for enemies, the enemies will be just there. And don't play Valve deathmatch, it's not the best. It has those bonus weapons, and you can't choose CD's guns while playing as T's, you can't choose T's guns while playing as CD's, and it's just not the best place to practice. Yes, it's entertaining, yes, it's fun, but it's not the best place to practice. If you actually want to practice, go into a community server and search for a free-for-all deathmatch. At least that's what I recommend. And you can also combine free-for-all deathmatch with headshot-only deathmatch. Basically, you can try out many different types of deathmatch, find out which one suits you the best. But headshot-only is probably going to be the one that will improve your skills the most. And by playing deathmatch for 15 to 30 minutes a day, you can greatly improve your aim. And we've reached the end. Number 10, Gamesense. And Gamesense is something that you can't really learn in silver. You can't really learn it in a few hours as well. And Gamesense is something that comes with time. It comes with being in clutch situations. It comes with actually playing the game for many hours. And you can't learn Gamesense in deathmatch. And the best way to learn Gamesense, in my opinion, is by watching professional CSGO games. Some people might say you should play Faceit or Civo if you want to learn Gamesense. That way you might play against higher skilled enemies. But that's generally not true. Faceit is full of silvers. Usually you will have 4 silvers in a team and 1 Master Guardian 2 to Legendary Eagle level player. And Faceit games aren't much different from your usual silver games, at least taking from my own experience. And if you want to learn Gamesense, try to watch pros and try to analyze them. Try to think, why do they do this? Why do they do that? And this way you can actually learn something from them. But anyway, that's pretty much it for this video. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave them down below. And one more tip, if you just feel like you're playing out of your mind and you can't improve. So if that's the case, try to change something up. For example, if you like hold short while being on CD side all the time, try to change things up. Maybe try to go B, try to hold middle maybe, or try to go long. Change things up. Or change your role while playing as terrorists. Maybe you're an entry fragger and something's just not clicking. Maybe you want to change it up, maybe become a lurker, or try to play the op, or try many different playstyles. And once you find the one that you're the most comfortable with, you probably will be back on track. But I just wanted to say that ELO hell is real. CSGO ranking system is fucked up, and it's not a secret. If you are in silver and you think you deserve a Nova rank, you will probably get it, but it will take you a longer time than you think, because I know a dude who claims he used to be Supreme on his main account, but because of many circumstances, his main account is now ranked at Silver 2. He's on a huge winning streak, like 11 or so wins, but he can't rank up, even though he's playing like beast. But that's pretty much it. It's been the Baltic Commentator. Hope you all enjoyed the video. I'll see you all later. Peace out.